What's good guys, my name is Oleg Nikitin and you're watching No Limits On channel. So this is the Zhiyun Molus G300, a pretty compact light with 300 watts of power, but it has a 500 watt extremely powerful output mode, like this one. So let's review that. Let's start off with the size and weight of this light. The COB itself is only 1.5 kilogram and the total weight with all the cables and the control box is 3.5 kilograms. The light itself is made out of high quality plastic. We have an umbrella mount right here, also the tilting mechanism which is made out of metal as well. Then the locking connector, kind of Nutrix type if I'm not mistaken, and here's the connector itself. It locks in place very securely. Also, we have a rubberized handle, so it's very easy to tilt this light. And here we have the release mechanism for the Bowens mount. It has the big one, the correct Bowens mount, and two stripes of LEDs, the warm ones and the cold ones. Also here we have the protective cap, and the light consists out of two parts. The light itself, the COB, with a pretty big and pretty loud occasionally fan, and also with a control box which also does have its own fan, but it's very quiet. On the top of the control box we have a USB Type-C and a special loop, so it's easy to hang the control box somewhere, and a 7.5 meter headlit, which makes it a lot easier to hang this light up above. Also in the kit you'll find a very nice reflector. It shows great performance, and we'll check the performance of this reflector a little bit later in the video. So the light operates really easily. We have a toggle to turn it on, we have two knobs. The left knob adjusts in 1% increments your brightness, and if you press in, it'll go through 20% presets. And the right knob changes the CCT, of course, from 2700 Kelvin to 6500 Kelvin, and you can use the presets if you press into this button. When you press and hold both knobs, you'll go into the max mode, 4300 Kelvin, 100% brightness, and this light will become a 500 watt light. And also guys, if you press into the right knob, you'll go into the effects mode. We have a ton of different effects. You can dim those down and you can change the speed of the effects. You can do it from the light itself or to use an app. An app is pretty simple, kind of straightforward, so I won't bother myself showing you the app. It's pretty easy to use. The CRI, TLCI, TM30 ratings are great with this light, and here is how I used this light on my actual shoot. I had a shoot with a dental clinic, and I used this light at 100% brightness up against the window with the softbox 90 centimeters with the grid. And here's what we get with this setup. We can fight against the sunlight, which was right behind my talent. Pretty nice results in my opinion. And also I did have another shoot and I used this light with an umbrella because I had to travel very light. I cannot show you my clients, but I can show you myself at 40% brightness, 6000 Kelvin, and we can fight against the cloudy day. And also guys, right here I have the Colbor CL220 light, which is a 250 bicolor light through a softbox 90 centimeters with a grid. And now let's compare it to the G300, and I'm especially curious how bright it is in 500 watt output. So right here guys, Colbor is on the left, the Zhiyun is on the right. We have a 90 centimeter softbox plus grid at 1 meter away from me. You can read the settings down below. We're at F4 right now and at maximum brightness without getting to 500 watts mode on the Molus. And as you can tell, the skin tones look better on the Molus a little bit, and also the brightness is pretty good on the Molus as well. Colbor is doing fine, but not as good as the Molus right here. So when we have a look at no reflectors and the brightness without any reflectors, we have the same settings, f4 ISO 640, and you can tell that Molus is pretty much brighter, like 20 to 50% brighter, let me say. And it's exactly the same when you turn on the warm LEDs, 2700 Kelvin, and exactly the same difference in terms of brightness levels, at least to my eye. So here we have the 500 watt on the right versus Colbor 250 watt. And as you can tell guys, we have a lot of output, extra output from the Molus when we go into this mode. But guys, remember that the fans get pretty loud in this mode. And here we have the Molus 300 watt on the left and the Molus 500 watt mode on the right. And this is the amount of extra power you can get with this light in this mode. It'll work for about 30 minutes until it gets very hot and it drops down the brightness. So without the reflector, the light beam on the Molus is simply perfect, let me say. We don't have any color cast towards the edges of the beam. We don't have any major shifts in terms of Kelvin ratios, no greens, no tints, no magentas, nothing. Perfect. The Colbor does look pretty good as well, but it has slight green and a more warm color towards the edge of the beam. Let me say it's a B+ mark from the Colbor. And when we put on the kit reflectors, we can see that right now we use the f8 aperture instead of the f4, and Molus is pretty bright, but the Colbor does have a pretty pronounced hotspot in the middle, which I'm not a fan of. And now let's have a look at the performance with the kit reflector, and the Molus has one of the best that I've ever seen in terms of the reflector and the light combination. Nothing is going on here. It's very bright, it's very soft, it's very gentle, no color cast, nothing. Let me say like 99% perfect combo of the reflector and the light. And if we have a look at the Colbor, it has a pretty pronounced hotspot in the middle, and towards the edges of the beam we have like an inner and an outer circle, as you can tell from those images. Also, Zhiyun Molus G300 is completely flicker free. Right now I'm on 1/8000th of a second and we have zero flicker, which is so nice. And now guys, let's take a listen to the cooling fans on those two lights. And in terms of the cooling fan, yes, of course, it is very loud at 500 watts of output, but you won't be using it for interviews, I guess. But if you use it on 100% brightness, I had zero issues with recording audio with my clients at about 1.5 meters away from my client, the light was. And also, if you use it at 50% brightness, it'll get you like more or less silent cooling fan. And finally guys, the price. It is $600. Not cheap by any means, but I think for this compact light with the ability to go to 500 watts with pretty good CCT range with effects and a very lightweight and compact setup right here, and with the control box which is almost silent as well, I think it's definitely worth it. So guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me down below, and if you did enjoy this video, please smash the like and subscribe buttons and hit the notifications bell. And right here I have another review of a Zhiyun light, you can watch it next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Take care, bye.